Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This is Sunday Sentiments. We meet twice a month on Sundays. We are a diverse group of women from around the world, and we meet to discuss current topics, current events, and topics of interest. These views that are expressed in this program are individual views. They're not the views of Four Wings. So just remember that, and obviously we will respect everyone's opinion. We're not all of the same mind, and even though we disagree with an opinion, we have to respect that that's someone's view. So we will move on with the topic, and I'd like to start by first saying Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there in England, because we know it's different around the world, celebrating Mother's Day. And we saw a very good post today saying we also need to acknowledge mothers whose children have died, women who miscarried, mothers who are women who are trying to get kids and they cannot due to infertility issues, and mothers and children who are separated from each other during this pandemic. We're just trying to include everyone on this day. So happy Mother's Day to you all. And I will now pass you on to Katherin, who is our first host, to present her topic.
Thank you, Chico. The topic is about Sarah Everard, a young woman, 33 years old, who was abducted on her way home at 9 o'clock at night on the 3rd of March in South London. This case really has touched a nerve in the UK. Women since then have taken to social media and have finally spoken about their experience with harassment, abuse, and misogyny. They have also spoken about their fears and the preparations and the long list of measures they often take when they are walking out alone at night. Virtually all young women in the UK have been harassed, a YouGov poll found. 97% of young women between 18 and 24, and 80% reported that this harassment happened in public places. 96% of those who responded also reported that they did not talk about it, that they didn't report this incident. Because sexual harassment is considered not serious enough, often women are accused of being overreacting. Maybe they should just take it on the chin. And that is in spite that since last International World Women's Day on the 8th of March 2020, 118 women have been killed by men in the UK. So when the Met Police said that women maybe should stay home while they were still searching for the perpetrator, a peer in the House of Lords suggested that maybe we should have a curfew for men when going at night after dark. And that was in an attempt to shift the focus from the victims to the perpetrators, because the overriding majority of street violence against men and women comes from men. So I thought we are a very international group, so it'd be interesting to hear what your experiences are in the different countries you live or you have lived in the past. How safe, I mean, I'm not saying do you feel safe, how safe do you feel when you're walking out alone? Are there different countries who handle women's safety better than others? So I thought, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting topic. Shakira, would you like to start? Shakira?
Yeah, it's happened a lot to me. I feel like every time I go out, I'm always coming back and writing to my friends, oh, this happened again. Something weird, somebody threw trash in my direction and asked if I was legal. But I feel like the most scary one was when I was going to a field trip with my class. We were supposed to meet at a church for a religion class. But on the train, and that was like a few months ago, a man who looked like he was on something asked me first if I knew anything about train dating apps, and then when I kept refusing him because he had his mask down and he kept like asking me questions, I quickly left the train. And I had a feeling that he was kind of just crazy in general. So when I looked back, I saw that he jumped out of the train right after me. So I ended up hiding behind a corner because this was the main central station in Copenhagen. But I saw him running past me in the direction that I was going before I quickly like turned like around to hide. And just, this was the most crazy one that I felt like I could have been kidnapped, that like this guy could have stabbed me or something. But it's something that I experience all the time, that there's some person who feels entitled to say something because they say, oh, she's pretty, she whatever, I'm entitled to say something to her. I don't know her and I might creep her out, but that doesn't matter because I think I should be able to express my opinion. And it just scares me because I'm always prepared that somebody's going to try to like kidnap me or something.
Yeah, that's a very strong story. Thank you for sharing, Shakira, because you're talking about many things in there. You're talking about also different types of abuse, not only against you as a beautiful young woman, there's also racism involved, and the fear now during COVID with a person not having the mask on. It's and again, you know, the effort we go through because we get frightened, and this is, I guess, in the middle of the day, there's other people and we don't trust other people to help us, and we end up, you know, a trip that might take 20 minutes will take an hour and a half because we have to wait for the next train. We're hiding, you know, you're talking about hiding. It's really, it's not only saddening, it's a frightening situation. Thank you for sharing. Keshi?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to say that this case resonated with me because I do walk home from work. I work 5 evenings a week, some weeks, and 2 evenings a week, some weeks, and I walk home. And that's like a 12 to 15-minute walk. So hearing that this girl was abducted while walking out at that time really affected me, because this is my everyday when I walk to work. And I do have my measures that I take, where I always call either my husband so that I have my phone, or I call Shiko or Kirigo or any of my sisters, so that I'm feeling safer, that the person can see that I'm talking to someone. But why this affects me is because why do I have to feel unsafe? And when I'm feeling unsafe, it's not because I'm afraid a woman will attack me. I'm afraid that a man will attack me. I've never been attacked. I'm lucky, actually. And it's not to say that it cannot happen, but it's really frightening. And I don't know what can be done, but that's just my experience.
Yeah, and you're certainly not alone there. I think that's the experience of most women. And really, you know, walking at home, it's how could that be, especially during lockdown, when that's what we're basically doing. We're going for walks, and if women work during the day, that's the walk, the exercise they need often happens in the evening. And a situation where you can't feel safe just to do your daily exercise, it's horrendous. Sorry, Chico, are you?
It's Jamila, Shiro, and then Yasina, and I can go after Yasina, please.
Yeah, Jamila?
Yeah, so the reason why this thing kind of, you know, scared me was because it was done during, you know, a pandemic, and people still think it's okay to harass people, you know, rape people. It's just bizarre. And like a situation happened to me. It was New Year's Eve, I think it was, and I was walking around in town, and some guy comes up to me, and he's not keeping social distance, and he thinks it's okay to start grabbing me during a pandemic where I'm like trying to stay away, continuously grabbing me, and I'm like, can you let go? And it's like they can't take no for an answer, and I don't know why that's just so normalized. And also, this woman, she did everything that we are taught to do when we're young, even though there's no reason for us to have to do that. She had a full-length coat on. She was walking in a well-lit area. She asked the police to help her take her home, and then that still ended her in this situation. And she is gone now because even though she was following all this stuff they tell us to do, it didn't work. So the problem is clearly with the perpetrator, the one who did it. It's just unfair.
And I think your situation is a difficult one as well, especially when we think about reporting. How can you report it? Could you take a picture of the person? Probably not, because you don't want to aggravate him. And of course, you can't judge if this is just an idiot who misbehaves, or if this is a serious threat that could end up you being abducted or seriously hurt. It's yeah, very, very frightening. You're next.
Yeah. In Africa, women are not safe at all, I have to say, because women, they do a lot of things that place their lives in danger. For example, a lot of women don't have running water in their homes, so they have to go to the river to fetch water. Or if they use firewood, for instance, for cooking, they have to go and look for the firewood, and they're walking to lonely places to do that. And a lot of times they get sexually assaulted as they do that. And yet really it's something they have to do. You need water every day, you need something, fuel for cooking every day. They're not safe. But when it comes to my own experience, and I think I've mentioned this before, I love walking, I love hiking. I live in a very beautiful area with many hills. And just about 2 years ago, I was walking, and a guy was following me, and I tried to get rid of him. I went to a place, I saw some women washing at the river. I hung around there. He pretended he had disappeared, but when I kept walking, I saw him again. And then I came to a place where there was a dry riverbed, and he was waiting for me. And he actually tried to rape me, and I fought like hell. I will never forget that instance. It was extremely traumatic, but it was in the middle of the day. It was about 2 o'clock during the day. A woman cannot feel safe during the day. So now even when I'm walking, I can't, go off the road. I just stick by the road. And like Keshi was saying, you're not afraid of a woman. Like for instance, if I see a woman ahead of me and she's walking, I feel safe. I walk with her even. But if I see a man, I will go the opposite direction. Women are not safe at all.
Thanks, Shira. That would have been a seriously terrifying situation for you. I'm really sorry to hear that. And you're right. I mean, we can't even go about our daily tasks, like you're saying, from the African perspective, women having to get water and wood just to complete their everyday lives. It's really, really troubling. Thank you for that. I think Yasina.
Yeah, thank you, Katherin, for this topic, and I'm really sorry for everyone who are in this kind of situation. Like, I also faced this many times, not only in India, in Europe also I faced it many times. Like when I was going from my work to home in Italy, some random Italian guy, I don't know, like I never saw him before in my street also. He just came with some bunch of flowers, and he just slept on my private parts like this while I was walking on the road. And those people, then everyone are walking, but no one are stopping him or saying like why you are doing like that or anything. I was very scared, and I was running to my home, and my home was nearly 1 mile away from the bus stop. I was walking, and he was following me till my house. Like he just came to my second floor, like he just came till the lift on the I have taken the lift, and he has taken the stairs. Like then after that, my boyfriend was in my house. I told him like he's doing, and we just went and we gave complaint in the police. Yeah. After that, they have taken action on him. Like why all they did some action, but those action was also that not good, and it's not like after if he does something means it doesn't mean anything.
It's very frightening, and that happened during the day, so you couldn't even rely on others to help you. I mean, it's the fear is bad, but when you get
evening
physically
7.
sorry,
It's only evening 6:37 time. At that time everyone was on the road.
yeah, I think that makes it even worse, that we cannot rely on others to help us. It sort of aggravates the fear even more. Thank you, Yassina.
Thank you.
Shiko?
Yeah, thanks to everyone. I know this has happened, like Katherin, you said, from the research too. All of us, you know, some uninvited, unwelcome attention and aggression, the ensuing aggression when you say, no, I'm not interested, from men, you know, that sense of entitlement that you should want that attention. It's very scary. And I have to say, for me, of course, there's recent experiences, but I'm also thinking of when younger girls, and I remember when I was young, and I never told anyone until very recently. I can't remember where I shared this, but when I was going to school, I was always anxious because there was this man, an older man on the bus, who every time I got on the bus, he would come and stand behind me and sort of rub his butts on me while on the bus. I never told anyone, not my mom, not my sisters, not anyone, because we feel ashamed when it's not even our fault. You know, that wasn't my fault. And he did it all the time, and I tried changing the bus times, but you know, he would figure out and end up on the bus I was on. And I was only maybe 13 or just a teenager, very young, with a man maybe in his 40s doing that to me, just feeling entitled. And I'm thinking, I'm so sure somebody else saw this, but he didn't feel the need to speak up. And that's what is scary, that people feel like they don't want to say anything. Other women are scared, or I don't know what it is, but nobody spoke up when this man was clearly standing. I'm sure the people sitting we were on their eye view, they could see what was going on, and nothing was done. So it's just ridiculous. And I agree with you, Katherin and Jamila. This victim blaming needs to stop, and the focus on the victim needs to shift. Because even if we're told, don't walk in the dark, don't wear this, don't do this, or other men jumping in and saying, I'm also scared to walk in the night. Yeah, maybe, but you're scared of other men attacking you. So it still comes back to it's men and their aggression on people, whether that's men or women. And for women, it's a very real fear. We've heard from the youngest members of this group saying that they're in fear of being harassed or attacked or whatever, and something needs to change.
You're right. And I mean, how can we expect young women how to know how to react in this situation? They're completely overwhelmed by the experience. I mean, often you freeze, you don't know how to deal with it. And I think it's very typical that what you said, that you never told anybody because we are ashamed. We don't know how to process this situation. You know, is this part of our guilt? You know, because we were told, oh, don't dress so that men are attracted to you. And I actually heard somebody suggested that because sometimes people think it's a domestic discussion or a fight between man and woman. So one suggestion was to constantly say, what are you doing? I don't even know you. So very loudly, that people understand this is a stranger who is coming after you. But again, I mean, it's a big step to dare in public to speak up, because for what I said in my introduction, because, you know, also the fear of being accused of overreacting, and that has to stop. You know, that really that silence, or the ideas that some harassment is not as dramatic as others, is what has to stop. Sorry, Jose, did I see you?
Yeah. It is terrible, and I really don't understand why women should face that for so many years, because it's something which dated from a long time. If I can remember, even those who came before us, they always women always walked on the street with the fear that a man can attack them. It also happened to me when in 2000 when I was living in South Africa, and I also, when I was also young, back when I was living in Rwanda, I used to walk in fear, thinking that a man can run after me. So I wasn't afraid that an animal on the street can like, let's say if there are people who've got wild dogs, but I never got a fear of that. But I was scared that a man can meet me on the street and then rape me. So it's something which I don't know how this can be solved, because it's something which has been happening from long time ago, and till today the issue is still there. It's so ridiculous that sometimes, before I came to Europe, I thought maybe in Europe that it doesn't happen, but it happened most in every country. So I think it's the issue that it has to be seriously addressed. Seriously, because we are tired. Really tired. Our kids, our aunties, our mothers, everyone, no matter how old you are scared for men.
Yeah. Craigo?
Shamsa has
Oh,
had
sorry,
her hand up.
Shakira, you were first, were you?
Shamsa.
Shamsa? Oh, I didn't see her, thank you. Shamsa, then Shakira, then Craigo.
Thank you. It's very important topic. And, it reminds me, few months back, a teenage girl was walking towards her school in the London, and a man tried to abduct her, and a lady, she smelled something wrong, and she rescued her, that girl. And, at that time, they didn't take that thing very seriously. And this is happening again with the lady. So I want to tell you one, like everybody told her experience, and it's with everyone. We are not alone. I was walking in the town and I was going somewhere, and when I was crossing a road, a man came up to me and he said, "Do you need a company?" I said, "No." And then I thought he will go, but he didn't go away. And then he kept coming to me and he was saying, "I can offer you anything, whatever you want. Do you need coffee? Do you need?" And I kept say no. And then I was, he was coming at my face and it was so scary. And then I started shouting, and luckily there was a building and there was a security guard there, and he came there and he pushed that man away. And then then I start walking there and I go away. But it was so scary. And then something happened again at my property, and I mentioned it to the Chiku, and she knows it very well. But I don't want to mention a whole incident, but it was scary as well. So here is not topic for women, but being a society, all men should be, they should help ladies if they are in problem in the streets at the night, or even at the daytime. They should consider that something is if someone is calling for help or something, they smell that something is going wrong, they should come for help. Being a society, if we are walking in the street, they have their daughters, mothers, they have wives in the at home, and being a society, we should rescue each and everyone, and we should part our play.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, very much. That's we are such an international group, and all of us have a story to tell that's very, very saddening. And you're right. I mean, the first step is about speaking out finally, and telling those stories, and making sure that it's not considered not serious enough. And then the next step is that that we get men on board, because it's the men that have to call out men, especially when they're amongst themselves speaking, making jokes about women, or that's the time when men, because they say not all men, of course it's not all men, but those men who are not like us need to call out the other men, and obviously to educate our kids. And we need a government that puts the resources behind it, so that there is a robust education in schools to show men or boys and girls, young people, what good actually looks like. Because some of them don't have the role model, and I mean, the last point is maybe to look into the root causes, what makes men to behave in that way. Sorry, who's next?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, Krigo, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that it's not only the young ones or the older ones. Not too long ago here in Denmark, we had a man who was actually coming into nursing homes and raping women. I mean, how do you even, he killed a few. I don't know how many. All I know is that he was attacking them and raping them. And one of the story I remember was he raped the mother of someone who's known in Denmark, and it was a big thing, because imagine having it been that the last thing you experience in this life is being raped and then killed. So it's all women who are vulnerable. It really doesn't matter the age. We know they are pedophiles, even a 1 year old, a few months old, they're all in situations where they can be raped. I think it's a pity. And I think it's a pity that we are in the 21st century and the laws are the same. They get a few years and come out and do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's frightening, and it also shows sort of the certain weakness behind this person, that he chose women who are certainly a lot weaker, who can't resist against him. So as you're saying, there's all different types of motives, and it affects all women, and that makes it even scarier.
McKenna is next.
McKenna.
So I've had a few times these kind of things happen to me, but one of the most memorable was a few years ago. I was on the bus with my sister. I guess I was dressed kind of colorfully. I had a bright white dress on, and at the time I was wearing a wig. But I was sitting at the front of the bus, and this was around 6 to 8 p.m. and there was this crackhead on the bus. So he was on drugs or drunk or something. I'm not sure. And I just remember thinking okay, just don't look at him at all, because they always come and talk to you if you look at them. And he still came up and he sat behind me, in the seat behind me, and he was like, hi, how are you, and stuff like that. And I was just trying to be as nice as possible so he wouldn't try and do anything. And at one point he asked how old I was, and at that time me and my friends had an inside joke just about just saying oh, I'm 12 or something like that. So I said to him that, because that was just the first thing that came to my mind. Obviously I wasn't 12, but he got really aggravated, and
he was saying, like, he got really angry and he was saying, "Oh, I'll knife you, blah, 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 blah. You think you can lie to me? You're obviously not, blah, blah." I just remember being like so scared, and there was only like a few people on the bus, and I didn't really know what to say. Like, I really thought he was gonna get out a knife and like stab me or something. And when he was getting off the bus, he threw like a stone or a rock or something at me, because I remember it hitting me. And so it's just like, it's like situations like these. It's like, are we supposed to just not go anywhere? Like, it's like, I'm confused. I'm like, do I still continue doing what I'm doing in protest against that? Or should I just stay in fear? Because obviously I don't want anything to happen. But yeah, that was a really like scary moment for me.
Kenna, I
Yeah.
remember he said to you that he would smash your head through the window
Yeah.
of the bus.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then a man got involved, like he was looking at him shady, and then that guy turned around to the guy and said, "I will knife you." So it's like the audacity, someone even tries to defend you and then that person gets angry at them for defending you. It's just crazy.
That's just a terrible situation. And I picked up, especially, so you still remembered what we were wearing on that day.
Yeah.
This is how deeply these incidences are engraved in us. And we will, especially when experienced at such a young age, we will actually modify our behavior in the future. And that is just not acceptable. So
it looks like Shakira, just make your point quickly, because there's no
Yeah.
one else who wants to say something.
Yeah, it's just that I also read about the Sarah's case, Sarah Everard, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And the person that was charged in it was a police officer who was like married and had like 2 kids or something. And I've seen a lot of people bringing up the discussion, like, if even a cop that she might have even asked, "Can you like give me a lift home because I'm afraid to go home by myself?" If you can't even trust a person who literally was given a badge and told to serve and protect, how are you supposed to trust anybody? You get on the bus, you can get harassed there. The train, an Uber, a cab, like even just some girl in like Singapore or something was killed, like raped and killed by like 6 of her male friends that had been friends with her since she was a child. So even the people that you think, oh, this person's really close to me and we have a real connection, we've known each other forever, he's basically my brother, that doesn't matter in some situations, because when they see an opportunity, they're going to take it. So a lot of people can say, not all men, but what about, like, it's not all men, what about the men that get harassed and da 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 da? It may not be all men, but it's enough. It's also enough women that everybody's afraid that, oh, I might be next. Something happened in my neighborhood, I might be the next person taken out in this whole situation. Somebody's gonna look at me, I'm gonna make eye contact with the wrong person, and they're gonna stab me or something on the train. So it doesn't matter. You can say, oh, I'm gonna take all these safety precautions, but at the end of the day, if you just encounter the wrong person at the wrong time, doesn't matter what badge they wear, what station they're in life, if they see an opportunity, they're going to take it. It's not all men, but it's enough.
thanks, Shakira. You wrapped it up actually quite nicely in saying enough is enough, because that's exactly the point. It is now enough. The first step has been taken, that women now finally speak out about what happens to them. And we've seen within our international group that we haven't found anyone who said that in their country or a country they know there is any difference. So it's cultural, it's in every culture, and it needs to change.
Thank you very much, Katherin, for hosting that and for everyone sharing their personal stories. We know even the ones who didn't speak will probably have something to share. And just a quick development about this case is that the women, a lot of women, and of course their male allies, went on a protest march for Sarah. and they were policed really aggressively. And we're talking about how, and I know we have a pandemic, but you can also use discretion. Here's a woman who's died at the hands of a policeman. Why in the world would you think it's okay to go and police a crowd protesting that so aggressively? So we've seen pictures of women thrown on the ground, and you're thinking the irony of this. Of course, people are upset because he's a policeman and they symbolize this thing where you're meant to feel protected and safe. So some discretion should have been used. And it's even worse that right now we have the first female chief, I don't know what she is, of police right now. And this happened under her watch. So for me, I really don't give a damn about hearing the first woman, blah, blah, blah. We want action. We want to see women who are in these positions of power actually, giving their input as women and making a difference, because they must have informed her that they were going to go police and these people. In that case, some different advice should have been given, like do not engage aggressively, let people protest. This is a very sensitive matter, but nothing like that was done. So anyway, she is hosting the next part. So I'm going to pass you over. This topic probably needed 1 hour or so. There's so many things we could have talked about, and maybe we can revisit it, because this is not something that's gonna end just because Sarah was killed and people have marched. We know we have a long way to fight. So please, let's revisit this topic and give it a bit more time. I think it deserves more time discussing it.